This is Katherine Steffens speaking, and on behalf of the Friends of the Library, I will be interviewing former Mayor Paul Amico, who at 101 years young will provide us with a unique perspective of the town of Secaucus and its relationship with the library. Welcome, Mayor Amico.
Thank you.
Could you please tell us the years you served as mayor and discuss what was going on at that time as far as the town was concerned and perhaps as far as the library was concerned?
I was elected in 1963, and my recount, because of the closeness of the count, the election was held up a little bit. The county had buried some of my ballots and didn't all show up, and so the recount happened on the day it was supposed to happen was postponed because of Kennedy's death.
Oh.
And however, we got past that, and the recount showed that I was the winner by 4 votes, and I became mayor in January, officially, 1964, and I served 14 two-year terms.
And you continue to sit here and work with us today, so we're very thankful for your perspective.
I'm pleased to be here.
Okay, although this question is about a time prior to your mayorship, is there anything you recall about the library in its first location at the top floor of the old town hall?
Well, there was a lot of criticism because of the location.
I can imagine.
And the absence of a real library. But in those days, Secaucus didn't have much in the way of services, and it wasn't as bad as you might think. And those people that were really library customers would do it, and a lot of other people who would like to do it didn't. And I, even though I was the mayor, I only made a couple of visits up to the library after it moved. I was never there while it was operating.
Okay.
Because we were digging for some old records. Mr. Kiefer, the executive director of the town there, and for the first time, I saw what it looked like. It was a couple of rooms, not too big.
From what I hear. And I understand there was a stairway that you didn't like to...
Well, not all the way. In fact, there was a stairway right from the first floor all the way up, and it was leaning a little bit. And if anybody was going up that was heavy, it would creak a little. To get a response from the wood.
Oh, okay. And you told me a story, something about a family in that location, living in that location.
Well, as I recall, the man that was on a night shift in the town hall lived upstairs with his family. I know they had at least one son. I'm not sure what the rest of the family was, but it was his job to be the night man downstairs. I don't think he had a police badge or anything like that. I'm not sure of that.
Mm-hmm.
Later on, the police took turns in working the night until one policeman come along and preferred to work nights. and that was solved.
I have to tell you, Mayor, in all my years of doing research about the library, I never heard that story. So that was a unique perspective, as I said.
For some reason, I have the name Gilbert, and possibly that was the last name of the family, but I can't be sure of that.
That's okay, at least we know there was someone there, keeping the library safe at night. The library at Plaza Center was dedicated just a few years before you became mayor. What can you share with us about that library and its new location in Plaza Center, and of course your very dear friend, Library Director Margaret Grazioli?
Well, that was quite a big doing for the town, because aside from the fact that we had a better new library, it showed that some things were starting to happen, because during the Kane administration there wasn't much movement along progress. But that went over big at the town. In fact, when I became a councilman a bit later, I got the committeeship for buildings and grounds, and that was under my jurisdiction to look around and see what I could see or do what I wanted to do.
And you told me that as mayor, you had an idea for the lower level of the library, which wasn't being used at the time. You had an idea about a museum.
Yes, it occurred to me that the town never made any effort to accumulate anything about the history of the Secaucus, so that people would later on be able to have access to it. And I spoke to the director, and they told her what I had in mind, and she said, gee, I wish we had more space, but, and she told me that she was getting ready to have a preschool program of some kind, and so that went by the boards for a while. But we managed later to get started in that direction.
And that preschool exists, well, we call it Story Hour now. Story Hour exists to this day in this library. And the same thing happened. We had no room for a museum here when they first opened this building, although there was talk of it. Space has always been a problem with the library. There were very wonderful board members that served throughout the years on the library board of trustees. Could you tell me what type of criteria you used, because it's the mayor's appointment to the library board, and maybe some insights into a few of those board members?
Well, Secaucus being a relatively small town, and here since I was 6 years old, and I got to know a lot of people, and I did a lot of campaigning, and it was just what I felt in terms of people being interested and sincere and available. And that was the same policy that I used when we had the appointed Board of Education. Later, that board went on the ballot. But the library board had appointees coming from the mayor's office, and I had little trouble in finding people that were interested and had the time and wanted to do it, and fortunately it worked out pretty good.
Do you have any board members that particularly stick out in your mind? I know you appointed many.
Well, I wouldn't want to mention one more than another, but I could tell you this, that most of them made their time available and they took it serious, and it was to the benefit of the town that they wanted to do a good job, and the results are as you see them coming.
Yes. Well, I can attest to that because many nights they kept me in that library until 12 o'clock, meeting and discussing the library, so they didn't just have cake and coffee. You were a very special invited guest to the dedication of this library facility, the Secaucus Public Library and Business Resource Center, as it moved to Patterson Plank Road. What went through your mind that day? What could you think about what you witnessed in the progression of the library and the town you used to know?
I said, well, it really came a long ways, because I was very impressed going through the building, and I later made a public comment in a newspaper that it not only was the library very nice inside and very practical to be able to use, but the space and everything, I didn't realize till I took a good look at it from the outside that it was also attractive, and I was very pleased that the administration at the time saw fit to have this type of a building here at the time. And I might add to that, it was the second building in about 50 years allowing the town to have new libraries. The one in Bucknell Park, I think, was in the 1960s or so.
Yes, 1957.
Yeah, and this one,
Right, 2003.
yeah, well, pretty close.
Pretty close, you're
And
right.
it's very unusual for a community our size to have one new library to have two, but it showed more progress that the town was involved in.
That's right. And when you think about the old library,
Oh,
that you went up those crickety old steps to see, to this one,
it was
it's an amazing difference.
Amazing. It'd be almost hard to imagine that we had the opportunity to have a library that could be criticized and one that could be complimented on.
Well, you saw it all. You saw the town grow. You saw it go from farms to beautiful homes, and now an industrial center. So you've witnessed a great deal in your years.
Yes, Secaucus was criticized by a lot of people for the dumps and the smell of the pig farms and sometimes even the vegetable farms. People of Secaucus seemed to get adjusted to it, but the people on the outside didn't. But fortunately for us, we had a lot of undeveloped area, which later on would bring in some new ratables and allow the town to get extra taxes and do what a town should have, which is always a problem when the tax base doesn't grow. So it was, you could see that we were on the right track.
Yes. Is there anything further that you'd like to add as part of your commentary for future residents and patrons of this library to see that you might like to just add about either the library or the town or anything that's on your mind? We're all interested in what you think.
That's a pretty tough thing for me to comment on, because aside from the fact that you have to do things to improve things, it's tremendously important that people get to have good character and get involved in thinking in that direction doing good things. That's not easy to come by. And without working on this question for a while, that's about the best I can give you for now.
That's fine, Mayor. You did great. We want to thank you. I thank you on behalf of Director Jennifer May and the Friends of the Library and myself and the committee for visiting us today and honoring us with your presence in this library.
Well, I'm glad to be here. I'm in town, as I said earlier, since I'm 6 years old. And I'm part of the town, and I'm glad to see when things are being done and there's movement, not only in the town hall, but in the library. And we were blessed to have some good directors here. And you've done your job for this library and for the town. And I want to thank you for your efforts.
Well, thank you very much.